TGIF Warriors. Hope everyone had a decent week. Hello, Alexander. Bran, how are you? Jamie, welcome to Face. Ryan, how are you? AJ, how's it going, team?
Hey, mate.
Okay,
hey, good morning,
so
Coach.
Happy
Bank Friday earnings day.
Oh yeah, yesterday was happy. I was looking for an outside day. I talked about it yesterday that we had an inside day the prior day. I was looking for an outside day down. Voila. So anyway, why don't we start off with what's happening with Euro? Ryan, when we're trading at 5.5, I was thinking about you. Are you still trying it here?
Yeah, I'm still long.
Okay.
Bit of a nightmare day yesterday on the trading front.
Yeah.
Trying to pick the
Okay.
levels. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we're seeing a bit of a dollar bid, which looks a bit like safe haven flows. You know, yields have dropped because
yeah.
bonds
They're
are
like
being
a
bid up.
yo-yo. They're like a
Yeah.
yo-yo. I mean, the volatility in rates is something we've never seen, or I haven't seen.
Yeah.
To see these kind of moves, it's almost like a third world country. Well,
Yeah,
maybe we are, or maybe that's where we're going.
But the dollar's bid as well.
Yeah.
So even without any weekend risk, without this war in the Middle East or whatever, if those yields have been dropping, we'd see euro, dollar, cable, and all the rest rising versus the dollar. But the dollar's still bid. The yen's a bit bid. So yeah, we've got a bit of weekend risk trading, I think, going on.
Yeah. So much for that reversal in the metals yesterday, exploding.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I didn't imagine this much strength off this level, because of this. You know, markets rarely bottom. Well, this may be one of these rare bottoms. Didn't do it. Yeah, yields, bonds, gold, and the dollar. Like Blake said yesterday, a toxic cocktail for risk. So we'll see, what kind of day we have today. If you just take the range, there's about 75 handles, and you tack it on to, if we take out yesterday's lows, I'm not saying we're going to, but if you do, it measures to about 42.5. So it'd be pretty deep. If we take this out, we're going to go for the 4,200 level, in my view. But it's still possible for it to make another charge. What's a weekly look like here? It's Friday, right?
So as you're flipping that over, I just want to say on gold, we have reached the 618 retracement of the drop. So just like right now, like as I'm drinking my coffee.
Okay. Right. Tough sale on a Friday with World War III developing.
Ah, shit, I wouldn't be selling it. I'm just saying. I'm just pointing it out for sure. Yeah. There's no way I would stand in front of gold right now, or oil for that matter.
Yeah, oil's up sharply as well. So, it's like, reminds me of 1970. Anyway.
Dude, I was just a little tyke sitting in the back seat of the car and just remember sitting and sitting.
Well, I mean, that's when guys like Doug Casey wrote books like Crisis Investing, and, Americans started to learn about hard assets again, because, from the 30s, when Roosevelt called in the gold, it wasn't legal to own gold until the 70s again. So I remember when they made it legal for Americans to own gold again, it opened at 200, and within 6 months it went to 100. But we don't even really think of that, do we? That it was, something that we do, buy and sell gold, and that it was illegal 40 years ago, 50 years ago.
That's crazy. And by the way, Citibank is or Citigroup rather is trading up right now.
How much?
On earnings? It's trading up pre-market. JP Morgan's trading up. BlackRock's trading a little lower this morning. Just little.
Okay, so that's why we're getting this pop in S&P. So I follow the banks, and a guy I know who watches option flow has been talking about Citi putting in. They've been buying some long-term calls going out to January. It's not a bad-looking chart. Maybe it's going to break out. So a lot of the banks look this way. Well, here's XLF, held where it had to. So this is going to be an interesting day to see if the banks can carry the day after a pretty negative day in the market overall. We'll see what they do with things like Microsoft. I think they have a fine that they're fighting with the EU. So it's playing with this wedge here. Amazon came off like a champ from 50%, 50% retrace, and it did not fill the gap. So if this
it looks like it tagged the 50 DMA from what the chart. Yep.
Yeah, so I shorted it up here. Okay, because of a 3 drive. And
are you still short?
I laid out some more December puts yesterday. So I'm
okay.
looking for 100. I think 116 is very doable. 120 puts I own.
Well, you got a couple of months.
Yeah, a couple of months, and
hopefully that premium doesn't start to get chewed up.
Well, it will. I know when I buy something that I'm going to go. It's like having a bad tooth. You have to live through the decay sometimes. But anyway, but this only took 2 weeks, and that was 15%. So if this is a 3 or a failing rally, even if it gets up to here, it should even be bigger than this. Usually it's a fib extension of this. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. What are you guys doing?
Ryan, what are you doing? I'm playing a little bit of dollar on the short side, and we just had the euro slip to fresh lows, but hit the 618 retracement. So I'm kind of playing around a little, but really actually pretty small positions. I'm not doing much. I like crude oil here though. I'll tell you what. Here, I'll take the charts.
Go ahead. All right.
What are you doing, Ryan? I'm kind of
stupid. That's what
what's that?
I'm trying not to do anything stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I'm not, and I've been pretty clear on this with like our like the trade-off, and talking to our the ForexAnalytix folks during the morning edge. It's like I don't have a huge confidence factor in the market right now in currencies. No. The biggest size position I was in, and I'll just kind of share this with you guys because this is was playing this to alongside. I even did it on the trade-off. It was my play of the day this week. Is this Gartley pattern, because we were outside of this channel, so I was aggressively long here, and I sold it yesterday like right at the pretty much the top because of this butterfly pattern. But I'm looking for a dip to play that and risk off this Euro Aussie. But as far as like playing the dollar, it is a little bit challenging right now, isn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, very much so. We've had every emotion going through the dollar today. For the last 2 weeks, dollar couldn't find a bid. Wednesday's PPI. Pretty strong. Dollar couldn't hold a bid. Yep. So I used that theory to trade yesterday, and then the dollar goes on a little run, and so I got knocked out. Dollar CAD cable, just trying the levels. I'm offside on euro dollar longs, but I've kept that small so I can add down to 105. But it's one of those days you can have all the great plans in the world, and if the market wants to, pull your pants down, that's what it's going to do. And
I will say yesterday.
I was just saying things are just left at a little bit of a different slant to what it was in the beginning of the week. As I say, we've got a bit of risk off and a bit of worries over the weekend and the Middle East stuff.
Yeah, and I will say after the CPI yesterday, I know a lot of you all that are listening in right now were here, I played the dollar on the long side yesterday. You know, I got long, you know, shorted the euro. Forget what else I shorted. I played the dollar on the long side, but it went a lot farther than I thought it was going to go. I mean, based on what we saw with the PPI reaction, just kind of watching the dollar over the course of the last couple of days. Like I even put out a YouTube short about, you know, getting on the short side of the dollar Swiss thinking 91. I didn't think we'd be here until today. Like we got there yesterday. I mean, that move was pretty aggressive. When you start looking around, I mean, that euro dropped from, you know, 106 and a quarter basically to, well, following the CPI is really 106.15 to 105.30. I did not expect that big of a move yesterday. Did you?
No, not at all. Not at all. But in another crappy auction as well, followed it up overnight. So, you know, there's lots of things going on as to why yield should go higher and the dollar goes higher. But it's, you know, that's not the picture today. You know, that was a picture yesterday. It's not the picture today.
Yeah, it isn't. You can see why, you know, the euro's finding some support ahead of the 618, which, you know, we have divergent relative strength intraday. Sterling also getting close to the 618, divergent relative strength. You know, we broke this yesterday, which was just for us, it was a clear cut short once the RSI broke that wedge. That was like a boom, time to get short the sterling. I was short some sterling yesterday. And, you know, taking a step back, though, it's like these are some big ass moves. Now, one of the things that we talked about yesterday, Dale, you might have remembered this. This is a nice head and shoulder pattern setup, and take a look at where we bounced yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was thinking about that this morning.
Yeah, I mean that is like you know you're a salivating bond market bull right here, because you know it's, you know, this weekend, you know, things could get a little bit more hairy. You know, Stelios told us a couple of people from Deutsche in London are staying home. You know, there's some risks that are circling around this weekend, and you know, if you're looking for a safe haven play, the bond market offers some pretty decent yield at this point. So you know, that's going to be a hell of a reversal if it sticks. What do you think, Dale?
You're talking about what's sticking?
The 10-year. Yeah, like
I mean, it negated
TLT,
the island,
whatever you want to play.
Yeah, it negated the island bottom. It filled the gap yesterday on that down, but you know, we're not at new lows, and you know that formation is viable till it isn't. So I mean, I am looking for a low here, but we could get one more shot down in TLT. You know, if this right shoulder doesn't hold, TLT, you know, I think the shorter durations are coming off faster than, you know, the long end of the market.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
yeah.
You know, is that okay? That's the bonds. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we should be, and then you have to think that the yen is setting up a top here somewhere. Maybe we still get above 150, but I think the two are, you know, tied together. They, you know, the correlation breaks off once in a while, but you know, maybe it's going to be a failing rally and not a new high. So
yeah, it is a lower high. Did we get any comments from the MOF last night, Ryan? Did you see anything out of Japan?
No, the only thing they said was that the G7 reaffirmed that excessive FX moves are not desirable. That was it. So
yeah, well, it
never is, right? Yesterday about Powell speaking. I think it was yesterday you asked about Powell speaking. He's speaking next week. Next week, right? 19th, at the New York Economics Club. Doodah thing.
You know, the bears, the equity bears, need to see a day when yields are dropping, and maybe even the dollar is softer, and the market can't rally on that. That would cement the fact that there's, you know, some differentiation starting to happen between everything. So yeah, because they'll sell it off. They'll go, well, why is the market selling off with yields dropping? there still could be a growth scare. I know everyone's taking, recession off the table, but
I think that's those calls are being reversed now. I think everybody's it's like a flip-floppy. I feel like George Bush when he was junior, when he was senior, or when he was president. He's a flip-flopper, just like all the economists out there. Hard landing, no landing, hard landing, no landing.
Well, we know a few that have stuck to their guns.
Yeah. Well,
that we bring in, your favorite guy, Eric
Bosmajan. He's definitely been, staunch. Like I'm sticking to my guns,
Yeah,
but
Lakshman too.
Yeah, and look, I'll say it again too. I mean, dude, we've been partying for 13 years. Monetary policy partying. It's been Party City, dude. Like,
how come no one invited me?
They don't even put rum in the jungle juice at the monetary policy party. It's been like Everclear, like 100, like literally pure alcohol.
I can't believe you remember Everclear.
Oh no, well, no, I never remember the day of drinking Everclear. I always remember waking up on somebody's front lawn outside.
Was it one of those big punch? You pour a bunch of punch into a big jug, and then okay,
yes. My name could have been Mike.
I remember
ogre in another life.
I remember when I forgot where I was too. So
yeah, those days do.
That's a flashback, man.
I know. All right. Enough of that debauchery. But yeah, I think the thing is that we've had this prolonged period of, and I want to show you guys this chart I posted yesterday in the chat room. This is I'll see if I can find it here. This is a really interesting chart. Let me see if I can find it. This is the ForexAnalytix chat room for those of you guys want to, see it. But where was this it? No. I got to think of, it was last night. Nope, that wasn't it. I don't know where. You know what? I'll have to just back things up. All right, so we'll just go into last night sometime. I'll have to pass through all of this morning and European trade and go somewhere wherever I'm at here. Let's see if I can find this. Is a really interesting chart. Oh, here it is. Unemployment claims after yield curve inversion. Now check this out. This is where we're at right now. And I found this rather interesting because everybody's focused on jobs, right? This is from Piper Sandler. So check this out. You can see this is where we're at today, and this is unemployment claims, and this is looking at all the different recessions, right? And so we sit here and we wonder, like, how in the hell is this labor market so strong? And again, you think about like what happened a few years ago when we all were in lockdown. Major stimulus, not only in the Fed or from the Fed, but from every central bank. Balance sheets just blew up. It's working itself off, which has prolonged what we would say inevitable. So when you have this like situation where it's like no landing, well, I guess we haven't had a hard landing now, so we're not going to have a landing. It's just the economy is just going to keep going. It is going to keep going until it doesn't, until everything dries up. And it's going to start with employment. And if you look at the patterns of this is when the yield curve inversion started, this is where we're at today. And you can see in every instance, this is about where unemployment gets shitty. And, you think about that, that's going to be the tipping point for not only U.S. economy, but every economy moving forward. I think we are within literally, this quarter is going to be the last quarter where we go, and we take a look back in the beginning of next year, and we're going to be like, okay, well, there was the turning point. It was a few months ago when these guys were talking about it on F.A.C.E. So, I think Charles, It's funny. I know people that are looking for jobs, and I agree. Not all jobs are created equal here. You can find your jobs at Chick-fil-A or Burger King or wherever, but the higher paying jobs, they're not very abundant. So it is definitely, quality is lacking for sure. And and I know a lot of people that are looking for work. I happen to live in a place that's extremely reliant on homes changing hands, and they're not. So, and I know a lot of people that are looking for work, and it's tough market out there for higher paying jobs. Anyway, let's go. We got about 10 minutes, and we have Grega here. But before we get into bringing Grega in, he's going to look at some of these Elliott waves. Well, hell, Grega, are your mic hot right now?
I'm here.
Hey, sounds like you're in the toilet. Are you in the toilet? Flush.
No.
Sometimes you have to double flush. It does happen. So what do you that's gross. Ryan, that was gross. I can't believe you just said that.
He's
What?
Anyway, what are you looking at today, Grega?
Well, I still think that this dollar move since yesterday has lags, and in my opinion, dollar index will reach a new high. I also think that euro pound will obviously on the opposite side will stay weak, but I love gold. I mean, despite this inflation data and strong US dollar, gold is still rallying. So I think that gold has more upside potential, even if dollar would turn to the downside or turn around a little bit. I just think that gold will even explode to the upside. So any dip on gold next week, I think it's still a very good opportunity, like we already discussed a few days back.
Well, I mean, your 4-hour chart here says, we're going to 1900. We're there.
Yeah, and I'm still observing this blue arrow represents the potential pullback. So either, it can be from the near-term levels, or it can be very volatile, especially, who knows, maybe on Sunday we'll again experience some gaps. As you said earlier, there is a lot of risk going on. So there can be a lot of gaps again on Sunday. But of course, you don't want to buy here. I just will rather wait on a pullback. But I think that also silver, that was lagging compared to gold a week back or so, now it also looks interesting, and I think it's bottoming.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me, yesterday we had to make a little bit of an adjustment, and on here, let me clear this up. So, yesterday oh shit, I didn't want to do that. Sorry guys, let me delete it. They moved all the controls here, so I'm kind of fumbling around a little bit. So just bear with me, probably over the next week while I get everything adjusted. When we're looking at gold and looking at just let me just pull this back down at the bull bear line. I adjusted yesterday to that 1885 last night, because that was like the previous support, current resistance, and that was like a level that it's like, okay, if we get above it, it does turn bullish, because you use the term, and a lot of Elliott wave people use the term impulsive. And this move, as we were discussing yesterday, I'm like, and this didn't exist, obviously, this is an hourly chart, so this didn't exist. I'm like, hey, this move that you see here off of these lows, super impulsive, right into resistance, previous support right there, resistance, super impulsive.
Now we're breaking it.
Yeah, pullbacks are going to be very minor. So if you're bear, you can't let it get above 1885 if you're a bear. And if you're, and I said this word for word yesterday on the morning edge. I'm like, we get above 1885, it's a straight shot to 1900. And we just did that, and we're now above the 618. And I sure as hell wouldn't want to stand in front of this move. Not knowing exactly what's happening in the Middle East. Who's going to stand in front of that on a Friday? Like literally. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. All right. Continue on. So what do you think about crude? Because crude, it's a little tricky, a little bit of a tricky animal here.
Yeah, I mean, I will just, from that, geopolitical perspective, of course, there is a risk that crude oil could see much more upside. but technically, it so far, no matter what is going on, it's playing out perfectly. We have seen move to the upside at the start of the week. Then we were looking for price to come back to fill this gap, and those new orders that were executed are now trying to make a new shift in the market, and now we are recovering. So in my opinion,
now we're right here.
Yeah, and now because these charts, as you know, were updated few hours back, and now the crude oil is rallying. So normally now a lot of people could be potentially pulled into this bullish reaction. Everyone thinks that now crude oil will stay in uptrend. So I'm just very interested to see what will happen at the start of next week. I mean, the technically 86, 88, it's a very interesting, very strong potential resistance. And by the way, that will be more than 10% up from the recent lows from $80 per barrel. So it's pretty strong move. And I just don't believe that we will shut up through 92.
You know, if this is truly the case, that we start breaking higher, and you know, I'm pretty bullish in crude. Matter of fact, I had somebody in the chat room yesterday, Dale, talking about how bullish Mish was. Actually, it was our friend Leon. He was talking about how bullish Michelle Snyder was in crude. And I couldn't disagree. I couldn't agree with her more, is what I meant to say, is that crude oil. I mean, this is price action that you get here. I love it because you completely, absolutely 100% screwed every long in the market, right? You did, because everybody was targeting 150, all the Goldmans of the world. We're going to 150. We got a false breakout. We reversed, we dropped below, and what you can't see here, well, yeah, you can, I guess, because it's still there. You drop below the 38%. You got all the longs out, right? All the people that were wrong here, they turn around, they're like, shit, crude oil is going to go down. Then they got caught wrong because of, unfortunately, the events over the weekend. But now you got everybody starting to get bullish again, and that now that we're fresh and we've really shaken the trees on both ends, it like took everybody, hung them upside down, got all the change out of their pocket. I think it allows for a move into fresh highs. Unfortunately, I mean, I say that, you know, with a heavy heart, with an American that guzzles fossil fuels. So anyway, so just you look at crude, and crude looks like it can go higher. And Dale, did you I know you interviewed Mish yesterday, but I missed that point of the interview. I had to tail off to like the last 10 minutes, so I think I missed exactly what she was saying. Did she have any targets for crude?
No, but we talked about the potential of airstrikes on Iran, and if there was a problem in the Straits of Hormuz, she goes, it's unlimited where it could go to 130, 150, 200 if there's a military conflict with Iran.
Got it. Well, and by the way, just look at gold's exploding right now. Like I said, there is not one person, except maybe some retail traders, that are like, well, screw that, it's gone too far today, so I'm going to short it. I'm sorry if I'm mocking some of you that have been trying to do it at 1900, but like I just said a few minutes ago, who wants to stand in front of gold? Anybody with big money, who wants to stand in front of gold on a Friday ahead of the weekend with what's happening, what we know that is happening in the Middle East right now? There's not one person with big money that's going to stand in front of that move. Not one. Right? Ryan, what do you have to say about that?
No, exactly that. Yeah, nothing really to say about that. Been saying it all morning. Same with oil, anything like that. No one wants to be sitting on at least short-term shorts in oil, or long or short-term shorts in gold at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, we have, well, first of all, we have some data coming out here in just 1 second, just some export data. So let me pull that up really fast. Shouldn't be a big mover, but you never know. You never can tell, right, Dale? Sometimes there's these outsized moves, and all of a sudden the market just starts blowing up. Oh, it's not there. Let me see if I can pull it up on investing. Right here, some export prices, import prices. Export price index a little hotter, imports a little light. Dollar's not really too responsive, not a big thing. Okay. Dale, I know you have an interview coming up, but let me mention this if I didn't mention it before. We have a new team member that's going to be joining us on the ForexAnalytix team. We're going to introduce him to the world actually next Friday about this time. So literally 7 days from now at this time. So make sure you're here to meet this new team member. We'll be announcing him right around here. Oh shit, I just said him. Damn it. Ryan, why'd you do that?
Hey,
I blame Ryan. I blame Ryan for everything, by the way.
On your own. Your own hole.
So, all right. So make sure you guys are here for that. And I just want to say, Dale, I know you have an interview coming up, but Grega, what are you looking for? What are you looking at going into this weekend?
As I said earlier, I just think the dollar's strength for now will resume, and I think that we'll stick with the euro and pound pairs. And
okay. So you think the euro is going to continue to move lower? Cable's going to move to
102, Grega? 102?
Just a second. If dollar would turn around, then watch out for dollar Mexican peso. Mexican peso is doing pretty well despite what the dollar has seen this move from yesterday. So I think the dollar Mexican peso in the risk-on environment will still be a very good.
All right.
We have to consider crude oil as well, of course.
Okay, and Ryan, what are your thoughts into anything you'd be looking at going into Friday?
No, just being cautious. If you've got positions on, if you're in pairs that might be susceptible to any weekend risk, just think about your trades. Think about making sure they're covered. For me, don't think I'm inclined to do anything more, but just manage what I've got in euro dollar and see what that does.
All right, sounds good. The euro, it's hopefully we get a little bit of a bounce here. It's hard to stay short dollars, ahead of the weekend, but obviously the dollar is being pulled around by what's happening in yields in the bond market or yields and the gold market and obviously crude. But take a look at, I want you guys to keep an eye on the Swissy. Now, I did do a YouTube short yesterday about what a great short it'd be at 91 cents. At that, double top neckline. Look, if you want to have some exposure in the FX market over the weekend from a risk aversion standpoint, and you don't have to choose the dollar Swiss. You could be short the Aussie Swiss. The Aussie's trading like, poop on a stick. So, why not be, short some Aussie Swiss? But if you want some Swiss exposure, the dollar Swiss, I think, offers a really good risk reward. And now, obviously, it's diminishing this morning because it'd have been a better short up at 90.90, which was the previous support. And it tagged that to like literally within 1 pip, but it still is not far from those levels. So just think about the Swiss franc as being a safe haven type of currency in this type of environment. All right. So anyway, with that being said, Dale, I'm going to pass it over to you. Have a great interview. Who's here with you today?
Mr. Malinin.
All right. We'll have a great interview with Tomas.
Thank you.
All right.
And have a good weekend, team.
See you
guys next week.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Grega, for being here.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Thanks. See you, Wizard. So Thomas, welcome back to F.A.C.E. And are you long some Swiss francs?
No, I'm not. But I was thinking that may be a good one. I don't know. The whole macro environment is such a mess that it's unbelievable.
So you finally have gold acting like let's party like it's 1999. The strength, the direction, the speed of the move in the gold has been really impressive. There you go.
Yeah, that's what you expect from a safe haven asset. And I don't think we are going to party like it's 1999, but more like it's 1970s.
Okay. All right. Or how about 1929?
Yeah, well, we may combine, you know, all of those, make our own. Like if the people will talk, let's party like it's 2020 in the future.
Yeah. So what are you worried about the most? Could it be that with what just happened in Israel, that the commitment to Ukraine is not going to be as strong?
You know,
go ahead.
I could actually start a figure riddle if you let me share the screen.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I don't get this zoom. It's always like a
you know the buttons on the bottom when you scroll. It's not letting you?
No, it is.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So why is the question is why is this so crucial?
Yeah, I agree.
Why is this?
That's a choke point.
Where it is?
Yeah, the Strait of Hormuz, it's Iran. Yeah, it's what, how much, 60% of global oil travels through there?
Well, actually, it's like, yeah, it's about 1/6 of the global oil, but
1/6. Okay.
Yeah, but 1/3 of the global LNG.
Okay. So that's why the natural gas really came out of the hole last week, before Israel. Natural gas, so people knew. So, you know, everyone's saying that we didn't know and Israel didn't know. I don't know. It's a terrible thought, but maybe they knew.
Yeah.
But they wanted to let it happen.
I don't know. Yeah, because that's what I've been speculating. Would you believe that the most pervasive intelligence agency in the world would not see that happening in their backyard, the surprise attack? Yeah,
they're using the fact that, you know, they were, everyone was distracted because of the Supreme Court issue of Netanyahu revamping. But, you know, Thomas, I have that feeling in my bones, and it's not just a feeling, it's from watching Netanyahu most of my trading life. And knowing that his mission is to eliminate someone who's threatened to wipe Israel off the map, very anti-Semitic Ayatollahs. You know, he's getting older now, like us, right, Thomas, and like Putin, and you know, you want to have your day in the sun, and I think this is his opportunity, and something's going to happen in the Straits.
Yeah, probably.
You think so?
Yeah, no, that's like today they gave, I think it was yesterday night, they gave the 24-hour notice, the Israel army.
Okay.
For the people of the northern Gaza to leave.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, how do you see it taking shape? Will Israel have to go it alone, and the U.S. You know, can't fund Iran or Israel with what's happening here in Congress? Or will it be, do you think, a joint military exercise, a joint mission with Israel and the U.S., maybe flying together in support of Israel?
How could the U.S. not be behind Israel? How could it not?
Okay.
I don't
know.
Yeah,
because of we can't govern.
Well, of course, that's a possibility, but your military still works. Of course, if you have another shutdown in what, 45 days or something.
Yeah.
But I think if there's a war in Middle East, you know, the whole debate of the government funding will go away.
Okay.
That's my bet.
All right. So go ahead.
If it really gets going, in the Middle East, then I don't think there will be any issue of government, not a shutdown of the government. They're not getting their funding. I don't believe that.
Okay. All right. So now we have two theaters open, right? We have Europe, we have the Middle East.
Yeah.
There's only one left.
What's that?
In Asia.
China. Okay. China too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And
so do you, I mean, do you think, here's what I was thinking over the wind. You know, I'm a technician. I don't know what gives me the right to voice my opinions and the thoughts that I have. But I really think China was a lever on this because they brokered the deal between Iran and Saudi Arabia. And they didn't want to see the deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel take place. And Iran is a client state, right? And they wanted to kill that peace deal, which is what they did. Do you think that they were the puppet masters here?
Could be, but what do you think? What is the kind of the general view within the deep state of the US, for example? What do they want?
Tell me.
No, I don't know. I'm asking you. It's just, you know, I think we have enough evidence that they really deliberately broke all peace deals in Ukraine in an effort to undermine Russia. So what are their plans? What is there? Is there a plan in Middle East? Well, of course there's a plan. What is the plan? Because, you know, it's just, of course, it's possible that the Biden administration had no idea and CIA had no idea that Hamas is going to strike. I don't really believe that either. So if we assume that wasn't the case, that they were, you know, called on the pants down, what does it imply? What is going on here? Like, it's the is it the kind of a broken gamble of the US to kind of assert power to certain places, to undermine Russia, to undermine Iran, to undermine China? What is going on here? Because, you know, the grand chessboard by Tiffany past them.
It's always been about hegemony, hasn't it? About the dollar.
Yeah, it's always been about that. So what do you think? So these are the questions I'm asking them. What is the end game here? Because if you do not understand the end game, you don't understand where are we going and what are the risks. So, like, the geopolitical theater has not been this messed up since, I don't know,
the 40s.
Yeah, probably. We have to probably go to the Second World War.
Yeah,
and it's dominating every landscape. Just assume what happens to the, you know, foreign exchange markets. If there's a actual oil embargo of OPEC or Iran closest to Strait of Hormuz, it's a bloodbath. And the US is like, USD is not like, it's not like a safe haven anymore. I think the bond yields show that it's losing it. And then there's the nuclear option. I don't do you see the new? I changed the screen.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
You said the 10 the worst.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay.
We can go through it.
So Europe definitely will be almost forced to not act like a NATO member and try and work something out with Russia with this going on, because you guys had a warm winter last year. You may not this year.
Exceptionally warm winter. Like I think in January was the warmest winter in the record in UK, and we can accept we can assume that goes really far to history, like several hundred years. So it's exceptional. But I don't trust our political leaders to make the proper thing here. I don't trust that they will brokerage a deal with Russia, but they should do. And let's remember that the Nord Stream 2 is still broken.
Okay.
So it's not so easy, even if they wanted to get the gas flowing from Russia. It's, I don't know. Well, maybe they would.
Well, you know, yields have been coming down a little bit recently in the last, you know, since the last Fed meeting. They peaked. So could it be that, you know, if we're talking about this, that the Fed is already getting ready to flip?
Well, today there was a interview on CNBC. It was actually the governor of the Central Bank of Lithuania, and he kind of hinted quite directly to the geopolitical risks in monetary policy. And this is again something that everybody should understand, that if a wider war breaks out in the Middle East, we could easily see the shortages seen through the 1970s and the complete disarray in the energy markets, global energy markets. And you know, it would throw a massive curveball to any, like, you know, the foreign exchange market, every single market. And let's not forget that we have still the banking issues is rather clear in the US and in Europe. So this is a very kind of hazardous combination, what is being building up here. And this could have not come for the worst time. There could have not been a worse time than this for the Middle Eastern conflict.
Yeah, Jamie just posted that there was it may have been sabotaged, that natural gas pipeline comes from the Guardian in the Baltics.
The Baltics. Well,
yeah.
We don't know that it currently looks like an anchor damage, but you can do it. Of course, you can do it deliberately also. You can just drop the anchor on the where it goes and drag it until it sticks onto something.
So is there anything we could do besides praying on gold?
So, I don't know. Well, actually, an hour and a half ago, we sent a warning to our clients to hedge all energy positions.
Yeah.
Everything. So, and this goes from corporations to hedging, you know, all the contracts of the oil, gasoline, everything, gas, and the households to just, you know, buy everything, but buy like benzene, gas, all the stuff, and get wood if you have a stove, just to be on the safe side, because this is like the risks. Of course, nothing may come out of this. Everything may come cool, but I don't think it will go that way. And if it escalates in the Middle East, then stuff will start to happen.
There's no way that Netanyahu is going to let this opportunity pass him by.
No, and it's really difficult now because the Israelis, the Israel government is not really a forgiving force in the world.
No.
And the
do you think they have nukes that we don't know about?
I'm rather certain they have.
That's bad news.
That's bad news, yeah. And they have. The thing is that already speculation within Israel, what I've heard, is that they will when they enter Gaza, they know that they will start a three-front war. So it will go. There will be
Hezbollah
from Syria, yes, probably Egypt, Iran through through Palestine or to Hamas, and you know, it can get really messy. And the really interesting thing is, one of the energy analysts raised this point in X that the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince and the president, was it of Iran or something, they have their first ever call. So that's like first ever call, and this is like, you know, that in the 1970s and in the 1960s, that the Arab countries joined forces against Israel. Of course, they lost then brutally, but now they kind of if you look at the arsenal, for example, what Hezbollah has, it's quite different.
Yeah.
From previous times. So there's the war will probably not go as planned as many of us in the West think. It will not be an easy piece for Israel.
Well, let me ask you this. Of course, that's front and center. But you know, for years after 9/11, everyone was worried about more terror attacks, cells within countries, and that went by. You know, we got the Patriot Act because of that, and started giving up our liberties to be safe. But there's been no talk about that, you know, just an occasional assassination of a terrorist leader group or the Iranian general. But you know what? We may have forgotten, but I don't think they have. And could this be a go signal for all of this stuff? I mean, Israel has a very, whether they failed or not, or they let whatever, they're the gold standard in security, which now everyone's saying they're not. They let the people down. But if bad actors could get through there, how about the porous borders here in the United States, that they're not just illegal immigrants, that there are bad actors that are here right now, just waiting for the signal, huh?
But we already know from Sweden that that has happened. I don't know how the news reads US, but they are finding, you know, every kind of crazy stuff from these groups that now live in Sweden, including missiles, anti-tank missiles. They have weapons of war brought in Nordics. So we have already, in Europe, we have already let the people in. And I had
they used to, hey, Thomas, they used to talk about this thing called a, God forbid, suitcase nuke. Yeah. You have a nuclear device in a suitcase.
Yeah, that's yeah, we don't know about that, but I'm rather certain that if such an incident happens, it's because some of the intelligence agencies gave such a bomb to terrorists. I'm rather certain that's because they don't have the capacity to, you know, and the Russia is not the fallen Russia it was in the 1990s. I think everything is accounted for, at least what I've heard. Okay. But this is like there are several of these issues now, and it's not like
there aren't any burners left on the stove.
Something like that, man. And
you know, everything's bubbling over.
And what is why the reason why we are using so much time to understand what's happening in geopolitics, because it determines currently what's going to happen in the markets and in the economies. That's just how it is. And this is the first time it's like this for a long time. So many investors do not get it. But when things get moving, really get going, then they understand. Like the Ukrainian thing was just a rehearsal, probably, in the worst case at least.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how we go. But should we shortly go through this? We have like 5 minutes. The 10-point worst case scenario. Just
go ahead.
So the first we already talked about.
You're a very good host. Good segue.
Excuse me?
You're a very good host. That was a good segue. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first 2 points we spoke of. So OPEC escalates, OPEC responds with an oil embargo, and Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz. And there is 8 islands in the strait, and Iran has military presence in all of them, so it can close it. However, 85% of its imports come through the Hormuz, so it's not so easy, but it's a kind of a nuclear option. But if such a thing would happen, I think the price of oil would reach $300 per barrel. With massive shock. And Europe, like we have from Russia and Middle East, about 1/3 of the LNG is coming, or and it would be cut off. And our energy market concerning LNG is very finely tuned. So there would be, energy shutdowns all over Europe.
Yeah.
Massive spike in energy prices. Yeah. Inflation will flare up. Central banks have to continue raising rates, and there's a collapse of financial markets and the global banking sector. So it's a collapse. Yeah. Then you have the debt crisis in the US because it has to ramp up, military spending. Federal Reserve starts to buy US Treasuries again enacting a quantitative easing while they are at similar times tightening the
how crazy
interest rates. And then there's one last nuclear option for the OPEC and the Arab countries is to stop using dollar as in oil trade.
Yeah.
And if that happens, there's a lot of dollars coming into the US, heading home, so to speak, in addition to quantitative easing that is pushing more money into the US economy. And while your production sector is going down, and this is how hyperinflations come to be.
Yeah.
So this is the worst case, 10 points worst case. And we have to acknowledge if the first one occurs.
Yeah.
There will
The
be
rest,
2 or 3
yeah.
at some form, and the 4 also in some form.
Yeah.
And that
go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and then things just start to unravel. Global economy, the US economy, nothing can withstand it. And then we are in a whole different turf again. Like it's like I just from CNBC, like 5 minutes before we started talking, I was listening to I don't remember who was there, just saying again about this soft landing. And I was just, in what world are these people living in? Like US households are eating through.
They still have faith. I know they still have faith in the Fed. But you're right. You're going to talk about the U.S. households can't buy food, right?
Yeah,
is that what you were going to say?
Yeah. And then some Paul Krugman lies that the fight for inflation is over. Well, it's not. It has already impoverished the middle class and the poor ones.
Yeah, you're right. Even people that have money are even complaining about gas prices and stuff.
Yeah, of course they are. And
it's only the 1% that doesn't make any difference. They could throw a can of gasoline on $1 million and they're still okay.
Yeah,
millions. Anyway, those people.
People. Yeah, but this is like, and it's like the U.S. economy is like a powder keg, I would say now, with the fuse lit.
Yeah,
and everybody just seems to ignore that. Things are really, really bad. And I just made. I'm going to publish it today or tomorrow in my newsletter a lengthy kind of explanation of research of what is happening in Europe and in the US, and every single point of live data I look at in the US shows that the credit crunch is about to start, if not already there. It's just not visible yet, but like it's everywhere you look in the data. Basically, it's just hidden because people are not. There is still consumer like demand, and retail sales are okay-ish, and people are using the savings and all that. But behind the surface, the collapse is already on its way.
Yeah, the Comet announced all of this a month ago. Go ahead, laugh at me. But you remember that undiscovered comet that became discovered with the green tail? And ancient people believed that comets were harbinger of war and famine.
Oh yeah, okay, okay.
Okay, so it wasn't one of the regular ones that we expect, like Halley was just recently discovered. And the last time was here was 400 years ago. So you tell me what was happening in the world in 1623. But that's the last time it was here. I think you got signals. You got signals from the heavens. So anyway, that's what I think.
No, but we don't. At this point, I don't think we can decline any theory. There's a lot of stuff happening.
So are you staying put, ride it out at home?
Well, I'm going to travel, but it's just of course our business is highly counter-cyclical, as you can imagine.
Yeah, you're going to get busy. People want to hear from you.
Busy, but it's just I just wish that people would understand the risk we are facing now in the Middle East. It's massive.
Yeah, I when I heard about that, I was watching college football on a Saturday, and it's very unusual. They broke in to the game, and talked about that Israel is at war. And, I thought, well, they've had these things happen with Gaza and the West Bank before, but I found it unusual that Biden came out and made a statement that day. And then when I found out, the full story, I knew, and people were talking Iran right away. Do you think the White House is just saying they can't find a connection? They don't see a connection, just to posture like that they have no plans to do something because they don't want to, show their hand?
Yeah, there is a even a more sinister option, which I don't consider likely, but which we have to put in their possibility basket that is possible. What if there is some group of actors in the world who simply decided over the heads of White House and even Israeli leadership that the attack of Hamas they will let it happen?
Yeah, that we talked about that.
Yeah, no, but this is like beyond. Okay, maybe I didn't understand, but beyond that, there is some group who just told Mossad that ignore this information.
Well, Egypt said that they warned Israel 3 days prior.
They
It's
did.
not
So
getting
why,
much
why,
play.
why there was no reaction? So,
Oh, you know what? I want to ask you one more thing, and then we'll end the, the gloom and doom show. Here in the U.S., we had a national emergency test, where it went through everything, and Israel was the only country outside of the U.S. to be included in the test.
Yeah, but I heard that they had something similar in Russia too.
Okay, but our test, they may have had something similar, but Israel, why wasn't it Canada? Why wasn't it Mexico? Why was it Israel?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
All right, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Look into it. It's probably nothing.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that. No.
Yeah, it's probably nothing, but
probably nothing.
I thought it was strange that they included Israel in a national emergency test.
It is.
Something's going to happen here. Anyway, let's in college football tomorrow. Probably nothing.
Yeah, probably
anyway,
not.
Thomas, how do people get your latest newsletter that you're going to be publishing?
Just Google me. It's Tuomas Malinen's forecasting newsletter or GNS Economics newsletter too. So
okay,
if you want to get the warnings, get the GNS Economics newsletter.
Okay. All right. Any special deal for our listeners?
Just be careful and watch out closely what's happening in the in the Middle East, and do not believe the talking heads.
Okay. So this was our version of Pandora's box being open. You could follow Thomas on X, yes, at MT Malinen. And my friend, I hope we're wrong. Usually in this business, you want to be right.
Mm-hmm.
I sure want to be wrong about all of this because, I'm not a prepper. I'm not a survivalist. I'm a trader, and camping to me is, instead of a 4-star, like a 2 or 3-star hotel.
Mm.
That's how I go camping. Anyway, thanks. So, I'm not suited for it. So, whatever. Maybe the flash will end it. So,
but maybe we will just storm it through. Storm it through.
You mean just get through it?
Yeah, it's storm it through. Like take all the opportunities it gives a rise to.
Yeah, that is the way to look at it. Okay, Mandy.
You got a date. Just be prepared and ready, like a hungry lion waiting for the steak.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to be once in a lifetime market opportunities.
Yes.
And and look, I'll admit it. I bought some physical because I was looking for 2040 silver and it traded 2060.
Yeah.
And I didn't buy the miners because the RSI confirmed the price move.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what to do. I can't chase it here. So
let me tell you this too. And I was in a giving a keynote on one well, let's say a bigger oil company here in Europe, and I talked with the treasurer after my presentation, and told me that they should get all rent a vault and put 1% of the liquid asset as a cash there, just to wait to buy out stuff. And actually, their CEO is on the same line. So I'm just telling them, just do not think the crisis as a horrible, scary thing, but as an opportunity. And then you will drive it through. You know, let's try.
Yeah, you know what, people, the grains. I know I've been the boy who cried wolf about the grains for a while, but that's what happens when you base forever. But all the grains are turning up. If you have room, you should have a silo.
Yeah,
and fill it up with wheat and soybeans and corn. It's going to be very valuable.
I'm a carnivore, so that doesn't work. Well, maybe I could sell that.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Thomas. Great talking to you. I'll get in touch with you on X, and we'll set up a date and hope that we could talk together again.
Yeah, and hope we have the means, the power hasn't been cut off and all that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah,
all right.
Great.
All right.
Yeah,
I recommend you do the same thing I do. Stay away from razor blades.
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, buddy. Adios.
Adios, yeah. Bye.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Hope you had a good week. Could join the team in 9 minutes on the Morning Edge. So remember, F.A.C.E is the place where traders come to become an ace. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Have a good weekend, everybody. Adios. Thank you, Laura. Jamie, thank you. See you guys.